First, at noon, the man accused of a brutal acid attack in Chinatown pleaded not guilty to the crime. Marquise Johnson appeared virtually in court today from OCCC. Police identified the 34-year-old after he was caught on surveillance cameras moments after he allegedly threw acid on a 30-year-old chef on August 8th. The judge today confirmed his bail at $500,000 and ordered that Johnson have no contact with the victim.
Act in this particular case does appear to have been premeditated and selected. He selected the individual. The court is very concerned about that and has not been presented with any specific terms and conditions or a plan to mitigate that danger.
Family and friends have identified the victim as Latson Robert. A GoFundMe page describes him as a husband and father who works tirelessly to provide for his wife and kids. It also says he lost vision in one eye and will need surgery on his shoulder and arm. Johnson's trial is set for October 27th. The man accused of killing Maui police officer Suzanne Oh will be back in court this Wednesday. This after a Maui judge ruled that there is enough evidence for the case to move forward. 38-year-old Clembert Kaneholani is being held without bail. Prosecutors presented their case against him in what's considered the trial before the trial last week. During the two-day preliminary hearing, a Maui police detective told the court he found live ammunition and a spent casing when he was called to the scene in Paia, and that he found Officer O had been shot through a hole in her vest.
The gunshot wound on the left side had come through her chest, injured her heart and lungs, and caused internal bleeding.
There's no argument that can be made to suggest with any reason, common sense, or logic that the defendant had no idea of knowing either that officers were in the area or that this was some sort of accident. It's ridiculous to suggest it.
Officers also testify that they found 2 guns at the scene, including a ghost gun that could hold 27 rounds. Meanwhile, a fundraiser for the family of Officer O was held over the weekend in Wailuku. Ululani Shave Ice offered food, music, and a chance for loved ones to share memories of the fallen officer. Velziland Burger Company and Maui Frozen also participated. The Samoan community came out to honor O in a traditional fire knife dance, and this Maui County building was also lit up in blue in honor of Officer O.
I think it did a lot towards the healing process for our officers and for our community to come together. We had some very nice words by Chief Pelletier and by members of the family for Officer O.
The vigil brought moments of reflection and remembrance, allowing the community to honor Officer O's service and sacrifice. Officials say gatherings like this help support the emotional well-being of other officers and provide a space for families and neighbors to grieve together. 100% of the fundraiser's proceeds will go to Officer O's family. And if you'd like to help her family, you can make a donation to her memorial fund. The Maui Police Department opened the fund to help honor her memory. The money will help support her loved ones and keep her legacy of service alive. Checks can be mailed directly to the fund. No online donations are being accepted at this time. With a spike in traffic deaths on Oahu this year, HPD has launched a new campaign in hopes of reducing dangerous driving behaviors on the road. Officials say the Safer Roads initiative will engage drivers and community members in constructive ways to help save lives, rather than focusing solely on enforcement.
We're starting this campaign with an initiative called Traffic Safety Tuesdays. It's starting tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of officers posting things on our social media and our media platforms. And also you're going to see our officers out there in the community. Our wonderful community policing teams, CPT officers, will be around the island every Tuesday, sign waving and engaging with the community, just to raise awareness.
HPD says the focus of the campaign will be seat belts, distracted and impaired driving, speeding, and reckless and poor judgment. Officers will also collaborate with schools and community groups to help amplify the message. On Hawaii Island, residents in Pa'oilo woke up to a fire watch this morning. This after a wildfire broke out in Hamakua shortly after midnight. That means residents should stay alert in case they need to evacuate. Highway 19 in that area had been closed for a time overnight, but crews have since been able to reopen the road. So far, there's no word of how much the fire has burned, and we'll keep monitoring the latest on it if it approaches any communities or structures. An update now on the Kunia fire that's been burning for nearly a week now. Crews continue to make progress. At last check, the fire is now 90% contained. An estimated 250 acres have burned so far. That's down from an earlier estimate of 600 acres made last week after a drone was used for more accurate measurements. The first fire broke out last Tuesday near Kunia Camp and Kunia Road. Firefighters have been on watch throughout the night after firefighting efforts were suspended shortly after sundown. Investigators are still working to determine the fire's origin, but it is believed it may have been intentionally set. Meanwhile, a 70-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of arson after a fire in the Waipahu area broke out on Saturday. Firefighters were called to Kunia Road and Plantation Road that morning, where they put out a 5 to 7 acre fire. Investigators later determined it was intentionally set. Police say the suspect was seen leaving the area around the time the fire broke out. He was later arrested after his vehicle was found in the area of another fire in Haleiwa. The second fire is still under investigation.
How's it on this Monday? You ready for lots of sunshine? Because that we'll get over the next several days. And the winds will run a little on the slow side, so it might be a little bit humid. And there is a chance for some afternoon clouds, a few afternoon showers. Not everybody's going to get that, but some interior spots might see that. And this is the weather pattern we expect for the next several days. Now, as far as surf, it's going to be small. No significant swells coming anytime soon, 3 feet or less. But at least the conditions are nice.
Thank you, Guy. With President Trump's new tariffs just weeks old, other nations are responding, and it could affect your bottom line and your mailbox. Melanie Zanona is in Washington with the details.
President Trump building new bridges with the new leader of South Korea, as that country says it wants to build ships in the U.S.
We're going to go back into the shipbuilding business again.
The visit comes as South Korea has been struggling with Trump's new tariffs. But now, President Lee Jae-myung is bringing a $150 billion package that includes building new shipyards. It's part of a deal the two leaders made last month, and Lee calls it Make America's Shipbuilding Great Again. It's been more than 2 weeks since the president's import tax hit just about every country in the world. The administration has made some deals, including with the European Union and United Kingdom. But a deal with the world's second largest economy, China, remains elusive. Both sides agreed to pause stiff tariffs for another 90 days while negotiations continue.
I spoke to President Xi fairly recently, and at some point, probably during this year or shortly thereafter, we'll go to China.
But the tariffs are upending businesses around the globe.
The vast majority of my customer base is in the US.
That's because postal carriers will no longer ship overseas packages to the United States from some countries. Last month, the president closed a trade loophole that allowed goods up to $800 to come into the U.S. without paying a levy. But that changes Friday, and that means higher prices. For example, if your item is coming from a country with a tariff less than 16%, you'll pay an extra $80. 16 and 25% add $160. Over 25%, prepare to shell out another $200.
I can't pass this on to my customers. So as of last night, I've had to close my store completely.
Shippers don't know who will pay that tariff, the company or the buyer. Today, the president also signed a series of executive orders related to crime, including pushing courts to reconsider flag burning as a crime and trying to end cashless bail across the country. And after deploying and arming National Guard troops here in D.C. as part of his crime crackdown, the president is starting to do so in other cities, such as Chicago and Baltimore. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
Back here at home after a long summer, UH students are back on campus for the start of the school year. Thousands are making their way to Manoa's campus, which means the return of school traffic for roads in the area. Still, students and faculty we spoke with are looking forward to a smooth start to the fall semester as tomorrow's leaders carve their own path in a changing world.
You know, the workforce is changing with artificial intelligence, and we are preparing students for jobs that don't even exist yet. And so a lot of that is about really honing critical thinking skills, getting workplace learning, and identifying what the state needs in order to stay competitive and make sure that our students can stay home when they graduate.
For this school year, I'm really looking forward to experiencing this whole academic year with my classmates and the faculty. And you know, in nursing school, we really need that support.
More than 20,000 students are expected to start the fall semester today. UH officials say that's nearly 60% of its students are from Hawaii. Well, after waiting for years, more than 100 Native Hawaiian families are now on their way to owning their own homes in East Kapolei. On Saturday, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands awarded 115 turnkey homes at their newest planned community called Ka'ulu o Kaha'i. One of those recipients in the crowd was Leslie Gohier, who has been on the DHHL's waiting list for close to 40 years.
So I've been here 5 times, and people around us got picked. And it was disappointing, but still, I was happy because people were being able to get a house. And that, for me now, getting the opportunity to actually choose a lot for me and my family is the greatest gift I could ever receive.
The new community will be built in increments, with the first units expected to be completed by the summer of 2027. Ka'ulu o Kaha'i will cost $152 million to develop and will be built by Gentry Homes.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in ICE custody. I'm Cristian Benavides with where the government says he could be deported to next.
Also ahead on This Is Now, as the coconut rhinoceros beetle continues to spread around the state, we'll show you the efforts underway to keep the invasive pests off Molokai. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is in ICE custody at this hour after he showed up for an appointment at a Baltimore field office. U.S. immigration officials have threatened to deport the Maryland resident to Uganda after he declined a plea deal. Christian Benavides has more.
A large crowd chanted in support of Kilmar Abrego Garcia as he entered an ICE facility in Baltimore. The longtime Maryland resident prayed with his family and hugged his wife.
Mr. Abrego Garcia was taken into custody by ICE this morning.
ICE has threatened to deport Abrego Garcia, who is a Salvadoran national, to Uganda after he declined a deal to be sent to Costa Rica in exchange for pleading guilty to federal smuggling charges.
The only reason that they've chosen to take him into detention is to punish him.
Queridos hermanos y hermanas.
Before he walked inside, Abrego Garcia addressed supporters. His message translated by a representative of CASA, the immigration advocacy group championing his case.
I want you to remember this. Remember that I am free, and I was able to be reunited with my family.
Abrego Garcia spent the weekend with his family after his release from a Tennessee jail where he'd been held since June. That's when the Trump administration brought him back from El Salvador on criminal charges after mistakenly deporting him to his home country in March. His case has become a symbol of the administration's immigration crackdown.
It's just propaganda after propaganda, and it's somebody's life at stake.
The Trump administration says Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, and that he beat his wife, allegations he denies.
The guy needs to be in prison. He doesn't need to be on the streets like all these liberals want him to be.
Abrego Garcia's attorneys have already filed a lawsuit to try to prevent his deportation for a second time. That triggered a court order automatically pausing any actions for 2 days. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Molokai is the only populated island in Hawaii without the invasive coconut rhinoceros beetle. Advocates have a new plan to try to keep it that way. Jonathan Masaki has more.
We have to be maka'ala. We have to be always on the alert.
It's defense mode for environmental advocates on Molokai now that it is the last major island to not have any confirmed reports of the invasive coconut rhinoceros beetle. The state confirmed Lanai's first detection of a CRB larva at the end of May that was found among potted plants from Oahu and has since deployed more traps on the island.
We know that prevention is key. And it's the easiest way to combat invasive species.
Laura Buchanan is a coordinator for the Maui Molokai Invasive Species Committee.
Is the organization tasked right now to be the lead on coconut rhinoceros beetle on Molokai, and we need help. We need help.
To help stop CRB from making its way to the Friendly Isle, community organizers are proposing an interim rule to prohibit high-risk items from being imported there. Those goods include plants, soil, and mulch.
While we know that stopping it through this interim rule is not 1,000%, it surely would be a big help to reducing the risk to Molokai.
Buchanan says shipments are already inspected for the invasive insect, but she points out the proposed regulation could allow her and other officials more time to develop stronger protections. Buchanan adds landscaping products are limited on the island, and some island residents who rely on imports questioned the idea but eventually came around to it.
Coconut is a primary food source next to kalo for us culturally. And so once they realize that all of that could be gone, and they start working and they know that there are alternatives on the island that they can choose to do besides importing high-risk materials. And so far, everyone I've talked to has been supportive.
There's an urgency because every day that goes by, the fact that the CRB, because we have 2 deliveries from young brothers every week, the possibility of the CRB coming on any of those barges will be, like I said, have a very heavy effect on our island.
Organizers plan to bring the proposal before the Board of Agriculture and Biosecurity during a meeting on Tuesday.
And that's Jonathan Masaki reporting. Let's take a live look outside with our tower cam. This is looking out at Honolulu Harbor on this Aloha Monday. What's in store for us this week? Let's send it over to Guy Hagi in 2 minutes.
Alert Weather with Guy Huggy.
How's it on this Monday? We've got a nice long stretch of fairly dry conditions, not totally dry, but fairly dry. And because of this disturbance to the north, the winds are going to run a little on the slower side. You can see this morning we're starting out mostly dry, just a few drips and drops here and there, really not much at all. However, because the winds will run a little on the slow side, some areas will likely see some afternoon clouds, and there's a chance with that cloud buildup for a few spotty showers late in the day into the early evening. But for the most part, we're not going to see much rain at all. We could see some overnight windward showers with those trade winds, but for the most part, like I said, it should be fairly dry for the next several days. Surf's looking pretty dry as well. Not a whole lot going on, although there will be minor south pulses for the next couple of days. Wednesday looks a little bit better, but for today it's going to be 3 feet or less everywhere. The thing about going to the beach, heads up, that UV index will be extreme at 12, so load up on the sunblock and reapply. It's going to be one of those weeks where you got to get outside and enjoy the best weather on the planet. It's going to be very nice, very mellow, very calm, and with those light trades, there's a chance for some afternoon pop-up showers, although rainfall will be limited for the next 7 days, and with those winds running light, well, humidity levels will be on the high side.
Thank you, Guy. A wildfire is spreading fast in California's wine country. The Picket Fire is the largest to hit that part of the state this year. It's already burned nearly 7,000 acres and is only 11% contained. Carter Evans is in Napa Valley with the latest.
An aerial assault over Northern California's Napa County as the Picket Fire rages on near Calistoga. Fueled by hot and dry conditions, the flames turned the sky into this eerie scene. On Sunday, Napa County officials declared a local state of emergency.
It's steep, rugged, inaccessible terrain.
But fire crews say they've made good progress, even downgrading some evacuation orders.
And our top priority is to start to bring that normalcy back.
One of the challenges in this firefight is potential drone interference. In January, a drone collided with a firefighting aircraft during the Palisades fire in LA.
As soon as there's a drone seen, all the planes have to leave. When that drone leaves, they're not automatically right back where they were.
So it takes them off of the fire at a critical time, too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Napa County is no stranger to devastating fires.
I've been up here 30-something years, so I've seen quite a bit, but you just get used to it now.
In 2020, the Glass Fire burned more than 67,000 acres and destroyed more than 1,500 structures.
Napa County is much more prepared today than it was 5 years ago.
And more extreme weather in the west. In Oregon, the flat fires burned more than 22,000 acres.
Oh my God! Something just picked up and blew into our RV!
In Nevada, a massive dust storm ripped through the Burning Man Festival, destroying some camps in the makeshift Black Rock City.
Now, we talked about the Glass Fire, which burned through this area about 5 years ago, and that burned a lot of the heavy vegetation out, but it has had 5 years to regrow, and it's tinder dry out here right now. But what has really helped a lot were the bulldozer lines that they cut back then. They've been able to use those fire breaks to help stop the forward progression of this fire. Carter Evans, CBS News, Napa, California.
beachgoers in Ala Moana, please keep your distance from this special sunbather. This female monk seal is molting, which means she's shedding her old fur for a fresh new coat. This Kauai native is named Rocky. She's 25 years old and has at least 15 pups around Hawaii. Always give monk seals plenty of space, at least 50 feet for adults and at least 150 feet of space for pups and moms. Well, the capital of Lithuania held its annual corgi race. People from all over gathered to watch these furry competitors run a 50-meter race. The big event, though, was the fashion show. Corgis and their owners sported some very creative costumes, from a corgi airplane to corgi Batman. The event attracted audiences from several countries. And get this, luxury French fashion brand Louis Vuitton is starting a cosmetics line. It features lipstick, lip balms, and eyeshadows, but of course it's not cheap. The price tag for one tube of lipstick, $160. Thanks for watching This Is Now, everybody. More news first at 4 right here on Chinatown.